Hello, this is Mark Robinson with a new review of Vector. Vector is an iOS game that was also recently released on Android and was created by Russian developer and publisher Neki, who are a social casual game developer type company. And with Vector, this is their attempt to crack into the mobile gaming market. Now, on first glance, you might look at Vector and you might immediately presume that it's a Cannibal clone. And you'd be forgiven for thinking that. There are things about Vector that look similar to Cannibal, but what you have to understand is that Cannibal was an endless runner and was really the endless runner that created this explosion of other endless runners that we've had to deal with since. On the other hand, Vector, it classifies itself as this free running parkour type game. And for anyone who doesn't know what parkour is, it's this crazy thing where lunatics go around and jump on walls and run across rooftops and pretend that they're taking part in extreme sports or something, which is fun and all. And I'm not dissing that in any way because there's no way in hell I could jump off a 10-foot wall and probably not break both of my ankles, which is why I'm in here doing this. So the way that Vector differentiates itself from Cannibal is this mechanic around parkour. And with Cannibal, you had just the one button, your device itself, and you would tap it and your little dude would jump up and it was all good. With Vector though, you have a couple of options. With the original Facebook version, you could just tap on the keyboard up and down and left. So the obvious transition to a touchscreen device is that you can slide up, slide down and slide to the left. And for the most part this works. It is responsive, it does what you want it to do. The only time that it seems to not really know what it wants to do is with the kind of big other issue with the game. Problem number one. So you have these tricks, special tricks you can do, and they're the typical kind of tricks you would see in parkour free running. Like your kind of barrel rolls, these corkscrew little flips. It's around here somewhere, and all that good jazz. And it looks pretty cool. The animations look like, there was a lot of time put into them and they look really effective. The problem is there is a box which when you run into it you slide up and you'll do that jump. The collision or the hitbox in it doesn't seem as accurate as it should be. You sometimes feel like you're sliding at that exact moment and it doesn't do anything, and that's quite annoying. The other issue with this is the tricks themselves as well, because they are the way that in-app purchases work in this game. And I've got no issue with them actually being in-app purchases because, to be honest, you can get through most of the game without really wanting to use them, because the actual gameplay itself without the tricks still is actually very solid. The problem is the way these tricks are then used feels gimmicky, and it feels like the gameplay has suffered because of it, because there could have been a lot more done with these tricks and you could have had a lot more freedom to do other things, actually use them in the game to your own accord. Whether the setup had been there'd been maybe sort of a couple of buttons on the screen somewhere, just tiny little buttons that you could assign a couple of tricks with for each level. Or they could have done some sort of slidey dealy thing, or just some sort of setup that would be akin to like a Tony Hawk's game. But instead we just have this shoehorned feature that I'm not feeling. I just feel that it's quite lazy, and what. And it's a shame because I feel more could have been done with it and it could have enhanced the gameplay experience overall. Problem number two. The frame rate is atrocious. Now I have half decent phone, does the trick. But oh my god, the frame rate is really bad, and I wanted to make sure that it wasn't just my phone. And to be honest, no other game that I play has had these issues. Even some high-end graphical powered games for iPhones I've had no issues with. So I played the Facebook version of it and it's the exact same thing. It's like they took the entire code from the Facebook game and then just threw it onto the iPhone, and I'd be amazed if it's not the same issue with the Android as well. And it's a shame really, because what is a very solid mechanic and gameplay experience there is just hindered by the fact that it's just too slow, and when the frame rate really starts to grind to a halt, it's no fun to play. And while this game obviously is going to be compared inevitably to Cannibal, if we're going to make that comparison, the simple fact is that Cannibal is a seamless experience. Like, there's no slowdown. It's the speed gradually picks up, and you have to keep with it. Here with Vector, it hinders the experience, and it's a shame. So overall, I think that Necky have created something that's interesting, and I actually like a lot of what's going on here. I just feel that they could take some of this and tweak it a little bit. Maybe it's just sort out the frame rate, really sort out the frame rate. I beg of you, sort that out, because there's a lot that could work here. I like how you jump over the obstacles, and with the obstacles, depending on where you go to jump over them, you might either just run straight into the wall, or you might do a really cool box jump type thing, which actually speeds you up. And as for the story, well, it's a little bit 1984, but hey, it's really cool the way it's represented at the start. It's a really nice little video sequence, so I'm not going to complain about it too much. Overall, I'm going to say a 5, because there's so much more that I know that could be done with this, but for what there is at the moment, it's just little things, little things. So that's Vector. Obviously there's the Facebook version. There's a version that is free to download onto the iPhone, and there is a paid app as well. Probably check out the Facebook version first. It gives you a very similar experience, other than the sliding mechanics. And you can see for yourself some of the issues that I was talking about, but there's still stuff to be liked here. So yeah, check it out.